What if I told you that some of the fiercest, most brilliant warriors in Indian history weren't kings but queens? Women whose courage shook empires, whose strategies outwitted entire armies, and whose names were deliberately forgotten by the pages of history. For centuries, their tales were buried, erased, overshadowed, or dismissed, yet their bravery, their leadership, and their defiance carved paths that still echo across time. This is not mythology, this is history. Real women, real warriors whose swords shone as bright as their intellect. Today we uncover the untold stories of India as ancient female warriors. The women who refused to bow, who fought like fire, and who changed the very meaning of power. History, as we've been taught, often wears a man's armor. The chronicles of war, conquest, and empire are filled with kings and generals, but rarely queens who commanded armies or stood at the front lines. Yet, beneath that silence lies an entire world of forgotten heroines. For every Ashoka or Shivaji, there were women who fought with equal valor. Rani Rudrama Devi, Abbakka Chowta, Velu Nachiyar, and countless unnamed warriors who led soldiers, defended kingdoms, and made decisions that shaped civilizations. So why were their stories lost? Because history is often written by the victors, and for centuries the victors were men. Societies that couldn't imagine women as rulers, strategists, or warriors simply erased them from memory. But the truth can't stay buried forever. The earth remembers, folklore remembers, and now we remember. Let's journey into their worlds, where courage wasn't defined by gender, but by resolve. Rani Rudrama Devi, the lioness of the Deccan. Our first tale begins in the heart of the Deccan in the 13th century, with the Kakatiya dynasty and its formidable ruler, Rani Rudrama Devi. Crowned at the tender age of 14, Rudrama Devi defied every convention. Many nobles refused to accept a woman on the throne. So she did something extraordinary. She adopted a male title, calling herself Rudradeva Maharaja. But she wasn't pretending to be a man, she was proving that power had no gender. Under her reign, the Kakatiya kingdom flourished. She strengthened forts, built irrigation networks, and reformed administration. But her true legend was forged in battle. When the Yadavas and Cholas invaded, Rudrama didn't hide behind palace walls. She donned her armor, mounted her horse, and led her soldiers into the fray. Chronicles describe her swordsmanship, her calm under fire, and the thunderous cry that rallied men twice her age to stand and fight. Even Marco Polo, the Venetian traveler, wrote of her, calling her one of the most extraordinary rulers he'd ever heard of. Rudrama Devi's reign marked one of the earliest examples of a woman not just inheriting power, but commanding it. She was not a symbol, she was a sovereign. Abbakka Chowta, the Tigress of Ulal. 2 centuries later, on the southwestern coast of India, the Arabian Sea roared with the sounds of battle. The Portuguese had come with cannons, muskets, and the arrogance of empire. But standing in their way was a queen from a small principality called Ulal, Abbakka Chowta, the warrior, who would become the first Indian ruler to defeat European colonizers on the battlefield. Abbakka belonged to the matrilineal Tuluva community, a society where women could inherit power. She used this freedom not as privilege, but as responsibility. When the Portuguese demanded tribute, she refused. When they threatened invasion, she prepared. Her ships, sleek and fast, were built for guerrilla warfare at sea. Her soldiers, a mix of Hindus and Muslims, fought side by side, bound by loyalty, not religion. When the Portuguese finally attacked Ulal, Abbakka's forces fought ferociously, ambushing them under moonlight. In one legendary encounter, she was wounded, yet continued fighting, hurling flaming arrows that set Portuguese ships ablaze. She became known as the Rani of the waves, her spirit as untamed as the sea she ruled. Though her kingdom was small, her defiance was colossal. Abbakka Chowta's victories sent shockwaves through coastal India, proving that courage could sink even the mightiest fleet. Velu Nachiyar, the Avenger Queen of Sivaganga. Fast forward to the 18th century, Tamil Nadu, 1780. The British East India Company had begun its conquest of southern India, and one by one, kingdoms fell. But in Sivaganga, a queen was about to rewrite history. Her name was Velu Nachiyar, the first Indian queen to wage an organized war against the British, long before the revolt of 1857. After her husband King Muthuvaduganatha was killed by the British, Velu Nachiyar fled into exile, but she didn't break, she plotted. For 8 years, she built alliances, raised an army, and studied her enemies' weaknesses. She even formed an all-women regiment led by her commander Kuyili, who would later perform one of the most heroic acts in Indian history by setting herself ablaze to destroy a British ammunition depot. In 1780, Velu Nachiyar struck back. Her army stormed the British strongholds using strategy and psychological warfare to reclaim Sivaganga. When the smoke cleared, the Union Jack lay trampled, and the Queen's flag rose again over her kingdom. Velu Nachiyar's rebellion was not just a battle for her land, it was a declaration that no foreign power could break the will of a free woman. It's easy to see these women as warriors, but their greatest power wasn't the sword, it was their strategy. Rudrama Devi mastered the art of diplomacy, forging alliances that balanced rival powers and ensured her kingdom's stability. She used intelligence networks to anticipate invasions before they began. Abbakka Chowta revolutionized naval guerrilla tactics, turning the coast into a trap where larger fleets drowned in confusion. She employed coded signals, disguises, and hit-and-run strikes that baffled European commanders. Velu Nachiyar was a tactician and an innovator. She understood that war wasn't just fought on fields, but in minds, using espionage, propaganda, and technology, yes, even gunpowder engineering, to gain the upper hand. These women weren't anomalies. They were architects of their time. They challenged patriarchal systems not through rebellion alone, but through competence, intelligence, and resilience. Their legacy redefines leadership, proving that strength isn't only about brute force, but about vision. For centuries, their stories survived not in official chronicles, but in whispers, in folk songs, temple inscriptions, and oral traditions. In Andhra Pradesh, ballads still sing of Rudrama's valor. In Karnataka's coastal villages, fishermen still tell tales of Abbakka's sea battles. In Tamil Nadu, festivals honor Velu Nachiyar's defiance. These fragments reveal something deeper, that ancient Indian society, despite its rigid structures, admired courage wherever it was found. But as patriarchal empires and colonial narratives took over, these stories faded. The pen of history replaced their spears with silence. Yet what makes their resurgence powerful today is not nostalgia, but relevance. Because these women represent an India that was never passive, an India where women led armies, governed kingdoms, and stood shoulder to shoulder with men long before gender equality became a slogan. They remind us that the roots of female leadership in India run ancient and deep. Today, a quiet revolution is unfolding. Historians, archaeologists, and storytellers are rediscovering these forgotten queens. New research, inscriptions, and regional archives are revealing details once hidden in dust. Museums are beginning to honor them. Artists and filmmakers are retelling their sagas. But beyond recognition, their legacy demands reflection. These women fought for sovereignty, for justice, for dignity, not for power's sake, but for purpose. Their resilience in the face of erasure mirrors the struggles of countless women today who still fight to be seen, heard, and remembered. To study them is not just to honor the past, but to reclaim history itself. Because every time we say the name of Rani Rudrama Devi, Abbakka Chowta, or Velu Nachiyar, we breathe life back into centuries of silenced strength. And perhaps that is their greatest victory. They were queens, warriors, mothers, and visionaries. But above all, they were leaders. Their armor may have rusted, their names may have faded, but their courage remains unbroken, echoing through every woman who dares to defy, to dream, and to fight for what's right. History may have forgotten them once, but we won't. But we, because India's story was never written by kings alone, it was forged by queens who wielded both the sword and the soul. If you believe history's truest power lies not in who ruled, but in who rose, like, share, and subscribe to Historian Baba, where forgotten voices rise again and legends long silenced finally speak.